You are listening to How to Get Over Your Ex, episode number 190. I'd choose my heartbreak again to be the person I am today. Welcome to How to Get Over Your Ex, a podcast on getting over your ex without it just taking time. I'm your host, Breakup Coach Dorothy. Let's turn your pain into power and your heartbreak into happy. Hello, beautiful Bravehearts. How is everyone doing? I am so excited. I have a special guest, E, here today. She is phenomenal. She graduated actually a while ago. I actually don't have your exact graduation date, but she was in probably, do you know when you enrolled?
December 16th. I know the exact date.
December 16th. So you were in the program through Christmas, New Year's, and even Valentine's Day. You had like the perfect timing. I always think those are like the perfect dates to be in the program.
Yes, it was perfect.
Amazing. Yes. Okay. So excited to have you here. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us. I know it's going to be super helpful for so many brave hearts. You endured so much during your heartbreak, and I want to talk about all of it. So why don't you start out by just letting people know who you are, where you are, and kind of a little bit more about your breakup story that led you to joining the Get Over Your Ex program.
Okay, perfect. So, I joined Get Over Your Ex in December, and so I graduated. It was right around March, so I am 2 months out from that, and I can't even believe that that version of me that started the Get Over Your Ex program. It doesn't even feel like I'm the same person, but I am so thankful for her for like having this part of her that wanted so bad to feel better and to make different choices, even though I didn't think it was possible. I did not think I could. I was in a really, I guess I'm going to use the word toxic relationship, and I just say that because I've kind of found through Dorothy and through the program that I think of toxic as anything that required me abandoning myself. And so I was in a very back and forth, hot and cold, intense, passionate, all the things that you think you want and are going to be so great. I was in that relationship with a coworker at work, and he ended up cheating on me. And at first it was with one coworker, and then it turned out to be multiple coworkers. So I had to face like the betrayal of him, the betrayal of other coworkers, and had to try to face continuing to go to work because leaving my workplace was not an option for me. I had worked pretty hard to climb up the ladder and to get to a position that I loved, and I didn't want a place that I enjoyed and that I was so happy to become a place that was full of negativity and heartache for me. So that's kind of what led me to join Get Over Your Ex. I had done the 5-day breakup training twice because of this off and on relationship, and I just knew I needed more community and more support. And so I actually DM'd you and I asked you if the no contact rule was absolutely necessary because I was like, I'm going to still be his friend. Like, I can't go no contact. I thought that would be impossible for me. Thought I was this unicorn. And you were like, absolutely not. This will work for you. So, and I joined a few days after.
Oh, so good. I mean, can we just talk about that decision in itself? Because I feel like it's a life-changing decision. Do you feel like you had a transformation in just making the decision to join the program?
Yeah, so it was a big decision. I was like, why? Because I kept judging myself for not being able to get over a breakup. I didn't date him that long. I'm older, like I'm 37. I should be able to deal with my own heartbreak by now. I had a lot of shame and a lot of judgment. Like, do I really need this? But I just wanted a different outcome. And the outcome that I feel like I got is like I have chosen myself and I have identified some things within myself that like I don't set boundaries. I don't put myself first in so many of these situations, and I cannot like that gift of knowing that and understanding that and believing it now. There you can't put a price to that. So making that decision and then uh, getting out of what I got out of the program, the return on the investment was huge.
Yeah. So do you feel like the thought, because anyone who's new here, welcome. Thoughts create feelings. And then those feelings fuel action. So I want to know, what was really the thought that led to you having a feeling? I also guess I want to know what the feeling is that created the action of joining. It almost sounded like the thought was, I want a different outcome, which maybe made you feel motivated. And when you felt motivated, you then signed up. What are your thoughts?
I really think it was, I want to be different, but I can't do it right now. So I'm going to go where someone can be different for me or do different. Like,
yeah,
it was like, I want your thoughts and your feelings, like that I listened to on the podcast, made me feel so much better. I wanted to go where I could hear those thoughts and they could be in my ear constantly. So that I feel like you believe those before I could believe them for myself.
Oh
And
yeah, no,
then
that
that
makes
made me
sense.
feel, it just made me feel hopeful and
Mm,
like, okay, I can have a different result.
yeah, no, that makes total sense. Total sense. So then tell me a little bit about, what was it that you struggled with most when it came to getting over your ex and building the bigger and better life?
For sure, what I was struggling with most was, I know you were sick and tired of probably talking to me about it, was the number of thoughts that I was having a day, because I was just ruminating. But, now I can give myself some grace. Like, I was being triggered. Like, I saw him and I saw the other women, like but I wanted those thoughts to stop so badly. And I still have thoughts, but, I don't make them mean anything. I can push them to the side. So, I was really struggling with how often I was thinking about him. It was consuming me. I would have never, ever been able to believe that I could go hours without thinking about him. And I can, like, it has happened. And then just the fact that I had to have interactions with him each day, it was really helpful to have you and the support of the program so that we could make my breakup protocols and adjust them, so that I could choose how I wanted to show up instead of just leaving it up to him.
So good. I do remember that, the constant, because I feel like overall, the biggest root kind of problem that you had throughout your experience was the fact that you had to work with him and see him. And there's so many, I think it was we're doing self-love week right now. So I think it was someone in self-love week that worked with their ex, but, there's so many people who actually work with their ex, and it's like such a big thing, because you don't recognize that you are constantly being reminded of that one thing. And then we make those thoughts, when we're thinking about them, we make it mean like, oh my gosh, we're never going to get over them, all of this stuff. But in reality, it's like, of course you're thinking about this person. Even if you don't work with your ex, you're going to see things that trigger thoughts. And we've got to learn how to redirect, and we've got to learn how to allow those thoughts to be there without giving them a bunch of emphasis. And I think one of the things that I guess one of the examples that I give is with Tinkerbell. I don't know if you remember the Tinkerbell example, but for people on the podcast, this might be helpful. So there's times where I'm coaching people and we're all on video normally, and Tinkerbell, my dog, will walk into the room. And I want you to pretend like that scenario is a thought about your ex that's walking into your brain. If I look at Tinkerbell and I give her all this attention, or I even not attention of being like, oh my God, I love you, all the things, but it's like giving her attention of saying, oh my gosh, you've got to get out of this room, Tinkerbell, go away. She's going to come at me more and be like all excited, thinking I'm interacting with her, versus seeing that thought come in, recognizing that it's there, not paying any attention to it, and continuing to focus on the call at hand. She walks in, will turn around and walk right out. And that's kind of what I talk about when I'm talking about thoughts about your ex. 100%. So good. All right. So tell me more about, what were the big turning points for you in the program?
feel like I had so many turning points, but I specifically remember messaging you when I was in the middle of module 2, and you were talking about like how a relationship is essentially just thoughts between two people. And then we had a coaching session, and we did a idea of like what his model may look like to lead to him making the decisions that he made. And that just really helped me to see that his actions are a reflection of how he feels about himself more than how he feels about me. And I remember when I sat there and I was like, it's not me. This was not my fault. Like, this was not something I could have done different. This has absolutely nothing to do with me. And then I think we took it further to discuss when I may have done things that I'm not proud of in the past, when I may have told a lie, or when I have may have not done something I'm proud of. It's never like I'm out to get this person. This person's so awful. Let me lie to them so that I can hurt them. It is to avoid something within myself. Like, I don't want to feel bad. I don't want them to think I'm me, you know? And so when I realized everything he's doing is because of his own issues and his own, it made me be like, okay, well, what's next? Where now how can I start feeling better instead of staying stuck and why did this happen?
So good. I think it's so wild that our relationships are just thoughts. So weird to
It
me.
yeah. And then the other turning point I feel like for me was the section about learning to trust yourself, and me really realizing that I don't really set boundaries, and I was not as emotionally mature as I thought that I was. So going through the emotional clearing with Dana, and just really learning how to start processing emotions in my body, and realizing that I can set boundaries, I can trust myself, I can follow through on the things that I say I'm going to do. In developing that relationship with myself, that started to be, I was able to start that during the program, and I've been able to continue it. So it's like I've built on that. And so that comes across as a major turning point because it's made a huge difference in my healing.
I'm so glad you said that, because one of the things that I've been thinking about just in general, I literally have it written down on my notebook today, is how the Get Over Your Ex program, I feel like it fuels, like it changes the trajectory of your life. And one of the reasons I think it does that is because of the emotional maturity piece of learning how to actually thoroughly process an emotion and not react to it. Learning not only that thoughts create feelings, but the how to managing when an emotion pops up and not reacting to that discomfort and really sitting with it. It completely changes the game, doesn't it? I mean, how is your life different because of that one skill?
It is tremendously different, and it's especially different because I know that I can react from just, I like to call it my old self. I don't know what the right term, but old Erin, like the person that just reacted and didn't think. And then when I can channel my inner voice and use my intuition and really process things, I make different decisions and I get different outcomes, and that's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and being able to process your emotions, it's also helped me a lot with my anxiety. I think I had a lot of anxiety because I was never ever dealing with emotions. I was stuffing them down or trying to avoid them. And when you give yourself time to process them, and when you allow them and you don't resist them, I actually am much less anxious in general. And so that feels good. It
Yeah.
feels better to be in that state instead of a state of being anxious and flighty. So
Yeah.
it's it's so different.
And I think that happens because we're not afraid of feeling the emotion. Even if it's at a subconscious level, you don't have to be anxious about feeling uncomfortable in the future or now.
And it, like, your program, everything builds on one another. So before I could get okay with not being afraid of feeling an emotion, I had to get to a point where I was like, I can handle anything that comes at me. I can make a decision and deal with the consequences. because I do know how to process emotions, and it's just like everything complements each other. And so when you're working on it together and then you're doing it with a group and then you continue practicing, I think it just really helps. Like I said, you make different choices and you get different results. So it helps
Yeah.
transform your life.
So tell me, you mentioned the group. How was the group helpful, or did you find the group helpful, or tell me more about that?
Oh, I don't know. Like I loved the group. Like I decided when I decided to join the group or the program, I was like, I'm going all in. And so I commented on every person's post. I was reading everything. I just wanted everyone to feel supported. I wanted to be a cheerleader, and I got the same back from them. I was all in. I love the heartbreak happy hours. And I feel like my friends were in my family were done hearing about my ex. Like they were over it. They still are over it. Like they don't want to ever hear his name again.
Mhm.
And in the group you have like a group of people that they can listen to it for hours. Like you can talk about it forever, and everyone is on your side. Everyone is cheering for you. Everyone is rooting for you. So you just have like this support that you don't have. And then you also don't feel so alone. Like you don't, I went back, Dorothy, I went through everything that you gave us access to. Like I watched so many coaching calls, and then you find people that you identify with, that did the program months and months before. And so then you can follow through and check and see how there are people I watched from start to finish. And so having access to that, having an outlet when you are hurting or when something crazy happens, that is just something that you can't put a price on when you're in the middle of absolute heartbreak.
I could cry hearing you say that you went back and watched all these, because that is true. I kind of forget that the Braveheart Academy has been open since December of 2020 or December of 2021. I don't know, but it's been open for a long time, meaning we've been collecting coaching calls for so long, that it is kind of cool that you could go back and watch someone who's not in your cohort and watch their entire journey from month 1 to month 3. And that is so epic to me. That is so cool. I love that.
There are 2 or 3 people that I like specifically to that. I was like, I saw their first call. I was like, I want to see where they end up, because I was like, will I get through this?
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
was in the middle. It was the weekend of December 16th. I remember when I started watching these, and I was like, I've got to see that they get there.
I love that. I love that so much. And they got there, and it's so
Yes.
cool.
Yeah,
Ah,
absolutely.
too good. Okay, so tell me a little bit about, what would you tell the version of you who was in the thick of it? Like if you could go back and talk to her, what would you say?
I'd say do what that really hard thing that you think you can't do, just do it. And the amount of pride and like confidence that it's going to give you is going to outweigh the pain, like 1000%. And for me, that was like blocking on everything and stopping all contact and stop making excuses for why I needed to have contact. So just do that really hard thing, especially while you have support.
Mhm.
Um, and then like find somebody who believes what you want to believe about yourself already and put them on repeat. And for me, that was you. I remember you just kept saying, your ex does not sound attractive. You said that to me so many times. You said, when I think about Erin's ex, I think unattractive, because I just kept telling you how he was so good looking and blah, 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 blah. And you were like, Erin's ex unattractive. Erin's ex unattractive. So,
I forgot about that. But yeah, because you would be like, he's so attractive. And then you would tell me all these other things. And I'm like, that does not sound attractive to me.
yeah.
Nope.
So just if you can't believe it for yourself, there are people that can believe it for you and they can help you get through it. And then just remember how important your inner peace is.
Yeah.
If someone takes away your peace, it it's not good for you. There's no way that that can be good for you. You have us talk about or list 3 emotions that we want to feel at the end of the program, and I never thought that peaceful was one of them that I needed. But the peace and the calm that I feel now from believing in myself, knowing I made the right decisions, and knowing like who I am, that is a feeling I don't want to ever go away.
Gives me all the chills. I love it. And so it's kind of fascinating too. I'm really glad that we didn't record this episode until 2 months even after you graduated, because you're like beyond. Normally I record when people like they've just graduated. But it's kind of cool that you've been 2 months out, and even 2 months out, you are seeing so many rippling benefits of having gone through the process.
Right. I mean, that's what the growth doesn't stop. And it's like you learn the concepts, you're feeling the feelings, you're going through the process. And then I have just committed to continuing to grow and continuing to heal. I want to be the best version of myself, and I don't want to make the mistakes that I was making before, but I would go through that heartache all over again tomorrow. And I was like hurting bad. Like I was crying on these coaching calls just so that I can be like who I am right now. I'm so proud of her.
I love that. That is amazing. Okay. Is there anything else that you want to share with Bravehearts who are listening in, who might feel really similar to you or be resonating with everything that you're saying?
So just, if you do choose to join the program, like what we're talking about now, the growing doesn't stop at the end of the 3 months. That's something that I have noticed. They just continue. And I also wanted people to be aware that you have like your alumni support, because I think that that's really helpful. I just watched the call the other day. And then just to always know that if you're going to choose yourself, you can't go wrong.
I love that. So good. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate you talking about your journey and your experience. I love you. I loved watching your growth. So much fun. I feel like even though you cried on a lot of those calls, I feel like we also had a lot of fun on those calls.
Yes, and I think it's because there was a part of me that always knew I deserved so much better, and like I wanted to be that version of me. So it was like I was like sad that I was experiencing it, but I was happy where we were going. Like I knew. So it was good. It was good.
A ray of sunshine. Boo. I love you so much. Thank you so much, and we really appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
If you're loving the How to Get Over Your Ex podcast and you want to learn how to get over your ex in 3 months or less to build a life better than the one you thought you had with your ex, I would like to personally invite you to my next group course, where we take everything you've learned here on the podcast and apply it to your life. Come check it out at www.lifecoachdorothy.com.